The 2021 Mercedes-Benz CLA PHEV. The Mercedes-Benz CLA is en route to receiving a plug-in hybrid variant that would go under the 250e badging. Info is scarce, but Stuttgart's compact four-door coupé could be in line for the same powertrain used by the A-Class and B-Class PHEV. On the design front, changes are to be of minimal impact both inside and out and will be resumed to new badging and the addition of plug-in sockets that would allow users to recharge their cars when not in use. Although there's no word on a debut date, the 2020 Geneva Motor Show looks like a plausible launch platform for the CLA PHEV. Here's everything we know so far. Exterior. The second-generation Mercedes-Benz CLA is one of the sleekest compact models on the market. Stuttgart's designers did enough to clearly differentiate it from the A-Class sedan to prevent the two models from cannibalizing one another, and the end result is undoubtedly an eye-pleaser. That said, don't expect the plug-in hybrid version of the CLA to mess with the A-Class, CLS-inspired shapes and cues. In the photos taken by our Carparazzi, the test mules, a regular CLA and a shooting brake aka wagon variant, look pretty much like your run-of-the-mill CLA, except for the extra charging socket above the rear right wheel well and the 250e badging hidden under black tape. Naturally, there's no need for extra camouflage since the current generation Mercedes-Benz CLA has been around for 1 year already, and without additional design changes, there's basically nothing to hide from prying eyes. Subsequently, the addition of electrification shouldn't mess with the CLA's size. Here's a complete list of dimensions for the CLA Coupé. Interior. We weren't able to produce photos of the test mule's interiors, but again, the CLA and CLA shooting brake PHEV will look just like before when it comes to cabin design. That is, the CLA PHEV is going to share its cabin topography with the A-Class. However, the introduction of an electric motor will see the MBUX interface tweaked accordingly with two new drive programs, electric and battery level. Elsewhere in the cabin, range-topping CLA PHEV models will continue to sport the dual 10.25-inch screens, as well as the same ambient lighting setup that initially made its debut in the A-Class. Space-wise, in the case of the A250e and B250e, Mercedes-Benz was adamant that the way it managed to mount the drivetrain's electric bits and bobs doesn't affect cabin space or trunk capacity, so the CLA PHEV's interior dimensions should carry over from the ICE-powered model. As such, drivetrain. There's no official word on the CLA PHEV's drivetrain, but we can only assume that Mercedes-Benz will fit its sleek sedan with the same internals that power the A-Class A250e hatchback and sedan and the B-Class B250e. Essentially, we're dealing with a 1.33-liter four-cylinder gasoline engine, 158 horsepower, paired to an electric motor. The e-motor sits right inside the gearbox housing, between the gearbox itself and the ICE internal combustion engine, and it eliminates the need for a 12-volt starter, as the e-motor performs the combustion engine's start-up. With 75 kilowatts on tap, the e-motor contributes to the system's overall output of 160 kilowatts, 214.5 horsepower, 216 PS. Torque is rated at 450 Nm, or roughly 332 pound-feet, and coupled with the power output, it turns the A-Class into a warm hatch of sorts, capable of sprinting from 0 to 100 km per hour, 62 miles per hour, in 6.6 seconds onto a top speed of 140 km per hour, 87 miles per hour, in pure electric mode, or 235 km per hour, 146 miles per hour. The 8-speed 8GDCT dual-clutch gearbox sends power exclusively to the front wheels, while the e-motor is fed by a 15.6-kWh battery pack that's water-cooled and weighs around 150 kilograms, 330 pounds. Mercedes opted to place the battery under the rear seats, just in front of the rear axle, and according to its literature, you can cover between 70 to 75 kilometers, roughly 43 to 47 miles, by relying on electricity alone. Prices. There's no word of the CLA PHEV coming to the US at this point, although Mercedes is already offering the CLA 250 here, for a starting price of $36,650. It can also be had with the 4MATIC all-wheel drive setup for at least $38,650, or in AMG 45 flavor starting at $53,100. We're guessing a PHEV version of the CLA would demand in the region of $40,000, should it arrive in the US. In Germany, the most affordable CLA money can buy is the CLA 180, which starts at €31,475. The CLA 250 will leave you without €39,505, so we can assume that the 250e will start a tad higher, perhaps at around €41,000 to €42,000. Competition: BMW 3 Series 330e. The sportier yet not that sleek alternative to the upcoming Mercedes-Benz CLA PHEV is BMW's own stab at plug-in hybrid electrification, the 3 Series 330e. It uses a 4-cylinder, 2.0-liter gasoline engine twinned to a BMW eDrive electric motor integrated into the 8-speed Steptronic transmission. The e-motor also acts as a generator that handles energy recuperation during braking for the 12 kWh lithium-ion battery pack. In the 3 Series 330e, the overall system output is 185 kilowatts 248 horsepower or 215 kilowatts 288 horsepower with extra boost and 420 Nm 310 pound-feet of torque. The 330e can go for 59 to 66 kilometers, 37 to 41 miles using just electric energy. It's no slouch either. 0 to 100 kilometers per hour, 0 to 62 miles per hour happens in 5.9 seconds with a top speed of 230 kilometers per hour, 143 miles per hour, but keep in mind that you'll only be able to reach 140 kilometers per hour, 87 miles per hour in pure EV mode. Read our full review on the 2020 BMW 3 Series 330e. Audi A3 Sportback e-tron. The plug-in hybrid A3 Sportback is marked by the e-tron badge and mixes a 1.4-liter TFSI gasoline engine good for 110 kilowatts 148 horsepower and 250 Nm 184.4 pound-feet of torque with an electric motor rated at 75 kilowatts 100 horsepower and 330 Nm 243 pound-feet of torque. Overall, the A3 Sportback e-tron relies on 150 kilowatts 201 horsepower channeled through a 6-speed S-tronic dual-clutch transmission. On the performance front, it is good for a top speed of 222 km per hour, 138 miles per hour, but the electric mode will only allow you to go as fast as 130 km per hour, 81 miles per hour. Speaking of which, provided you don't go berserk on the throttle, the A3 Sportback e-tron has a pure electric range of around 48 km 30 miles. If you do decide to floor it, then hybrid mode takes you from 0 to 100 km per hour, 62 miles per hour in 7.6 seconds, while EV mode cuts the sprint time to 4.9 seconds. Read our full review on the 2019 Audi A3 Sportback e-tron. Conclusion: those looking to buy a CLA for city use can now ignore the diesel altogether and go for a gasoline hybrid powertrain that's set to produce less emissions while still offering a low fuel consumption average. As the current trend is to get rid of lung-choking emissions around the city, expect more and more carmakers, also vehicles in Merck's lineup, to adopt this sort of powertrain. Sure, having the added input of an electric motor also spices up the car's performances, but that's not the main aim for the plug-in hybrid CLA, but rather a consequence. Mind you, this is not a BMW i8 or a McLaren P1. Nonetheless, those who opt for a plug-in hybrid such as the incoming CLA 250e will be doing others a service beside themselves, as today's cities need more green-er cars and less soot to be sucked in by their inhabitants. Love it. Less emissions are always welcome keeps the sleek design cues MBUX rules supreme in Merck's lineup, and the CLA PHEV will get it too. Leave it quite expensive isn't really worth it for those who plan on covering many miles outside the city. The CLA is still not the roomiest compact car out there.
If you liked this video, please share your thoughts in the comments below and don't forget to hit the subscribe button.